everyone, and welcome back to More Than a Muse. I'm Stauney.
And I'm Sadie, and welcome back to our last episode of June. Is that true?
Yes.
Wow.
Like, what the heck happened to this year?
I know. Oh my gosh, true. We're over halfway done with the year.
Yeah. I thought about that the other day, and I was like, wait a second. We were in March. I feel like that always happens, but this year especially has felt like...
I agree. But I also feel like I'm going to be saying that about every year until the day I die.
I know,
where
right?
I'm like, something about this year. Maybe it's just like the older you get, the more it seems that time goes fast.
That's gotta be what it is. I heard someone that they were comparing it to the fact that when you're younger, years feel longer because in the grand scheme of your life, it's like a much bigger chunk. But, yeah, where if you realize like when you're 5, a year is like a fifth of your life.
True.
Where now a year is a 28th of my life. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. So maybe that's really what it is. But
what's freaking me out at this point is I'm turning 27 this year, but starting next year, I would have been an adult for 10 full years. And that freaks me out.
Oh gosh, now you've got me freaked out.
I mean, I still got a year-ish, but next year is our 10-year anniversary.
I know.
For our reunion for high school.
Yep.
I think neither of us are going if there is one.
No, not a chance.
We'll make it a 20-year one.
If anyone's listening.
It's not personal. It's just...
No, I don't
want to go yet.
Yeah, I'm still dealing with trauma from high school.
So true. I feel like I gotta get a couple degrees hotter and a couple,
there you go.
Till I can go back, and then I'll be like,
get my life figured out, and then I'll be like, okay, we're good.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, I did notice that the people who graduated the year before us all went into their 10-year this year, and I
saw someone post about that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's weird.
I don't like the concept of aging, but it's fine. We're doing great.
Either. I know. I turned 28 in September, and I'm like,
I do feel like, though, like 27, 28, like those are, I'm telling myself that those are like hot ages. There's just like something about the 27, 28. I say that at every age, though. Mm-hmm. So
that's true.
26 is an awkward age. Like 25, 26, like what's going on here?
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know. Maybe I'm just telling that to myself as I'm like, yeah, I'm a couple years away from 30. That's not anything that I need to be thinking about.
Yeah,
ever.
I'm like, that's fine. It's okay.
Anyways, we did not intend for this to turn into an existential conversation about our fears of aging, but
as we all panic.
Womanhood. How are you this week beyond existential aging?
I'm good. I've just been dealing with my art's being stolen.
Oh, yeah. All your Etsy designs.
Yeah, I have some Etsy designs for Chapel Roan t-shirts. Those are the ones that are snapped. And I don't know what happened. I guess they're like screenshotting my mock-ups because I was like trying to figure out how it got so widespread. But I put them up on April, and within a matter of months, they are everywhere. They're on sites that like I've never even heard of. People selling like the artwork file. People have done like weird cropped ones. So there's a bunch of people that are like, this is AI on everyone else's listings. And I'm like, no.
That's mine, and people are stealing it.
Yeah, the worst too, I've managed to message a bunch of places and get them taken down. So that's nice. Redbubble won't let you do it without a legal notice, which is annoying because I think technically it falls under fan art, even though I didn't use Chapel Roan's likeness. I don't know how it works, to be honest.
But like, it's okay if you steal other people's fan art and then sell it? That's
doesn't make any sense either. So I've been like trying to figure out how that works because technically it's still my IP. I don't know.
Like, so you designed it. It's just based off of her song. It's not, like you said, it's not her likeness.
No, and I didn't even use a full phrase of lyrics. Like technically be allowed. Like there shouldn't be anything against it. But Redbubble won't take any of them down. And I can't message people on there. And then there's some weird third-party sites that are selling it that I can't get rid of. But the two worst ones is there's an Etsy shop that refuses to remove it. And I messaged them and I was like, hey, this is mine. And they were like, I paid $5 for the PNG. So I'm not going to take it down.
But you didn't buy it from me.
Yeah. And I was like, that's mine. And they're like, how would I even know that? Like someone else could claim that too. And I was like, you didn't design it. So take it down. And then they sent me this long thing about how they were like, this is just the way it works. And you need to get a lawyer to take it down everywhere else before you even bother with Etsy. And I was like, you're a direct competitor. Take it down. And they basically told me like, sorry, sucks to be you. At least you don't live in Turkey like I do. And I was like, what what the heck? Like, what does living in Turkey have to do with anything? I'm sorry that you don't like your living location. I'm not that excited about the US right now either. I don't know. So it's like really stupid. And then the other one is this TikTok shop that has it up, and I managed to comment on a couple of their videos and be like, hey, this is mine. And I messaged them, and they just deleted my comments and then went to my Etsy shop and stole another design. And now they're selling that one too.
Oh my gosh, you should send me the thing. I'm gonna like comment on it too and be like,
oh, please
stop
do.
stealing people's designs.
Yeah, so it's been super frustrating because they like won't leave it alone, and they're like even making modifications and stuff.
Ew.
And then selling more of them. And the Pink Pony Club one is everywhere. Because guys, come on, it was a good design. I did a really good job.
It was a great design.
But now like people won't leave it alone. But yeah, they have my Pink Pony Club, and then they went and took my Kinkus Karma.
Oh my gosh, and it like blew up.
Yeah, I know, 309. I've been commenting.
Yeah, all the comments are like, this AI shirt goes hard. It's not
AI.
And yeah, 172 have sold. That's so rude.
It's so frustrating. So yeah, so I've been commenting on theirs. Luckily, they haven't blocked me. They're just deleting everything. But I'm like freaking irritated. And then yeah, they went and took the Kinkus Karma one too. But honestly, at this point, I like don't really know what to do anymore. Like I've commented, some people have come over and purchased from mine, which I really appreciate, but at the end of the day,
it like hurts you.
I'm like, there's not a lot that I can do. I can't hunt down every single listing that there is, and I feel bad because some of these shops probably purchased a PNG thinking that they had the right to use it, and then like the platform's at fault. It's just hard because I'm like, wow, if I found out that I had stolen someone else's design, I would be like mortified.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they just don't really seem to care. So that's the state of the arts.
Also, okay, all these comments are so gross too. Of yuck, AI art, and you don't have the licensing to use Chappell Roan's work. First off, you can't copyright a song title. You actually are allowed to create merch like this.
Yeah, and you can't copyright song lyrics either. I got kind of confused on that. If I were to use like the full song, then that would be different. But yeah, like you can't copyright the phrase Pink Pony Club or I'm Gonna Keep on Dancing or West Hollywood, California. Like none of those can be copyrighted. And I actually didn't base it off of her, really. I think it does look a little bit like her, but not that much.
Oh, I'm so annoyed for you. I'm so sorry.
Like a lot of comments have been like, you should buy merch from Chappell. And I made a video about it. I said, like, I have nothing against it, but I don't listen to Chappell Roan because I like her merch designs.
Yeah.
I listen to her because I like her music. A lot of the times I don't like the merch the artists put out. Like, I know Taylor Swift is one we talked about. Most of the time I hate her merch.
It's pretty bad. I'm sorry. Especially for the budget that girl could potentially have.
Right?
Like,
where I'm like, try a little harder.
Yeah.
So
you could have the coolest merch ever if you just tried a little bit harder.
Exactly.
Have you seen her most recent designs though? It is actually
I did like them.
They're better. A lot better.
Yes. I feel like it's just hard too because like I look at Chappell Roan and Taylor Swift and their album art and like their aesthetics are so strong and like amazing. And I'm like, why doesn't that translate over into their merch ever?
I feel like with merch, it's probably harder to do intricate, cool things like on a large scale like that, where you're appealing to the most people. I get it.
Yeah.
I think that Chappell Roan did her Good Luck Babe shirt was cute. And I do if she has a couple designs, hers is much better than Taylor's.
Yes, it is. I will agree with that. Hers is better than Taylor's. I feel like hers, there's just not a lot of options, which like she is a brand new artist. There'll probably be more in the future. But yeah, I don't know. I like creating my own stuff for concerts. I know a lot of other people do too. So I just put them up on Etsy for fun.
And everyone's stealing it. That's so horrible.
Everyone's taking it's more just the concept. If it wasn't that strong of a concept, I wouldn't care as much. But I came up with the idea of the merry-go-round horse. And I'm just like, come on.
Like, that's mine.
I was like, that came from my brain.
Yeah. I know that it's not like this, but I guess it's like a compliment in a horrible way. I know that's not the kind of way, like you want to be complimented by being compensated and credited appropriately. So
I agree. But whatever, I can't possibly stop all of them. Yeah, and it's hard too because I've been like, people have been like, what should I do? And I'm like, I don't know. I would say try and double check who you're buying it from, but at the same time, like, how would you ever know?
How would you?
Yeah. So it's like, I guess when you do find small artists, just try to support them the best you can because Yeah, it freaking sucks. Like,
It does suck. All right, everyone. Yep, there's a lesson. Support
That's been my
support
week.
artists. Try
Yeah.
and find the original source. And yeah, personally, I don't feel like there's a moral issue with purchasing fan created merch. And I think if anything, I mean, like in the end, it does go back to the artist, I think, because if anything, it like boosts the fact that people are searching things for that artist. I don't.
Yeah, I feel
It
like
all
if
goes back
artists-
to the artist in the end, I think.
Yeah, if they really truly had a problem with it, there would be like more.
I know Taylor Swift did copyright some phrases, but like people
Yes.
were upset and irritated with it. And to be fair, I think that's fair to be kind of
Yeah.
frustrated with that because like
Yeah.
it made it so you couldn't do cool fan merch. In recent years, though, she hasn't copyrighted some of those terms.
She did copyright Someone Enraged the musical.
Yeah, she did.
So I haven't touched that one. I'm really hesitant about Taylor. I only have one design up and I like don't even put her name anywhere on it.
That's so
like,
fair.
So scared. Because yeah, I know she gets a little, yeah. But when I saw how many Chapel Roan shirts there were, I was like, okay, she's probably fine with it. Like you kind of play it by ear.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Yeah,
granted, I feel like
so-
there's whole creators who make their living off of creating Taylor Swift merch. And I think it's cool. If you
Yeah.
have that creativity and you can make merch that I would want to wear, sweet. I want
Agreed.
subtle fan merch. I don't want to
I
have
know.
people's faces on me.
Agreed.
Wow. I've said that. I have Taylor Swift's face all over me. I'm wearing the Eras Tour t-shirt. All right.
It's okay. But I know what you mean. For the Eras Tour, you don't necessarily want to wear that every single day.
No,
every
I'm
time
wearing
you wanna
this
wear a
in the
Taylor Swift
comfort
thing.
of my home
Yes.
on a lazy Sunday afternoon.
Although I think it's funny, I'm wearing her cardigan right now too.
But see, that's subtle merch.
Yeah.
Anyways, we did not. This episode is not about this, but it relates to everything that More Than a Muse
It does.
is, I think.
Yes. No, I think it does. And it, yeah, just one of those things.
It is just one of those things. I'm so
Yep.
sorry.
That's fine. What can you do?
I guess if you wanted to hire a lawyer, but it seems to me that's.
Yeah, I was like asking my uncle some questions because he's a lawyer. And so I was like seeing if there's a way to do a formal takedown notice to be like, hey, this is stolen, get it off your platform. But at the end of the day, I don't think I can really have that much of a legal claim over it because
Even though you
it's-
created it?
I don't know, because that's where it comes in. Is does it fall within fan art, even though it doesn't necessarily? It could exist outside of Chapel Roan too. I don't know. So that's one of the hard questions. Is that I'm not
But it
sure.
just seems to me if you're stealing someone else's fan art and then making a profit off of it.
right.
It's one thing if they're like sharing it to their Instagrams. Which
Yeah.
granted, I think if you share someone else's art to your Instagram, you should do your
You
due
should-
diligence to
Yeah.
credit them. Anyways,
Yeah, I don't know. It's like
Anyways.
this whole thing. I'm not sure.
that is very interesting.
So, yeah,
Huh. I guess that's it. I love that
yeah.
the first like 20 minutes of last week's episode and now this week is in some way Chapel Roan focused. That feels very on
Love
brand.
her.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. I was going to mention something else though too. The thing that I think is funny is everyone's saying that it's AI.
Yeah.
Did you see there was this recent photo competition where someone entered a picture of a headless flamingo and they won the AI competition? Have you seen this?
No.
Okay, so it was an AI photo thing. You were supposed to enter AI generated pictures, and then the best one
You
would
were
get an award. Supposed
Okay.
to. With its head turned, so it looked like it
Mhm.
was a headless flamingo, and entered the picture as an AI image, and it won. And then they came out and said, "Ha, that's a real photo. It's not AI generated." And their whole point was
Wow.
saying that we're getting to this point where people are starting to think things that are real are AI based on the absurdity of stuff or different stuff. When at
Mhm.
the end of the day, sometimes things aren't like,
Sometimes things are just absurd.
yes. And so it was kind of funny seeing all of this with this t-shirt design too that I did where they were like, what's AI designed? Because look at the way that her hand looks or something. And they were like, and plus it doesn't say, I'm going to keep on dancing at the Pink Pony Club. It just says, I'm going to keep on dancing. So they're like, see, it's AI. And I was like, what the heck?
no,
Like,
it's just a
it's
take
not.
on the song. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, yeah, maybe I guess her hand is weird. Sorry, I'm not that good at drawing hands.
No, but that's so true. It's sometimes
Yeah.
the world is absurd, and sometimes as artists, we can't do everything as perfectly and
Perfectly.
pristine. And
yeah, and I'm like, I actually feel like AI might have done a better job at her hand if I had let
Yeah.
AI do it. So it's just one of those things where I'm like, it's funny that we're reaching this point where people can't really tell the difference between reality and AI. And they've even noticed
Yeah.
that they've done tests where they put people in front of portraits of humans and AI, and people keep choosing the humans as AI generated because the humans have faults and the AI generated people
Oh.
don't. So they say this obviously must be AI because look, they're weird. Their nose is shaped weird when AI created a perfect person and humans aren't perfect.
I also wonder what the connection of plastic surgery and Instagram and filters. I know that's not what we're talking about today, but like when so many people do look perfect on social media, and I think like now it's like you hear a lot of people talking about like, everyone has Instagram face or which is, I'm not making a stance here on plastic surgery right now. I'm just talking about beauty and the way that everyone's looking perfect, that it's like interesting to be like, no, people aren't actually meant to. And you know what? Last night I was watching High School Musical, actually. And I like had the thought where it's every single character here is like objectively attractive, but like you can look at them also and be like, oh, her nose is big, you know, but like objectively a beautiful character, like person and everything. And it's interesting how like those like slight differences have been, I don't know, they're less obvious now. Like people are starting to have very similar perfect faces. And now when you like watch movies from earlier 2000s, like I'm noticing that now. Or like veneers, that's another one I'm seeing of like with people having different looking teeth. It's very interesting.
It's so weird. I find it so interesting. So yeah, I think the real harm of AI isn't using it as a tool. Like we use it all the time for work. It's amazing the things that I can do. Like it makes my job so much easier. But like I think the problem is more so that it's creating this idea that humans are supposed to look perfect and things are supposed to be perfect, and that faults are because of machines and not human error.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. Where it's like, no, I think it's supposed to be the other way. Like if you see something with faults, it should be because it's
a human that did it.
Human created it. Yeah. I don't know.
Like
anyway,
we should be uncomfortable with something looking too perfect because that actually doesn't exist. In the real world.
One of the tests, and literally because we've done a ton of AI generated images and stuff at work, I did really good at it. But it was because I chose the people that looked too perfect and assumed that they were AI. And apparently that's not what people are doing. So it's like, no, it should make you uncomfortable if something looks perfectly symmetrical, perfectly perfect.
Because that's not what people's faces look like.
No, and they never have.
Generally.
Yeah.
Interesting. Wow. The implications of that are truly horrifying. And also too, like a competition of AI photography is also interesting.
Yeah. I thought it was fun because I'm like, sure, whatever. But then I thought it was interesting that they got mad at the person for being like...
You know what? I love them. They're like, let me prove something to you of the dangers of this. And the actual real photography one, like, I feel like that's a win for artists everywhere. Truly.
Agreed. Yeah. No, I think it's funny because AI is not the demise of the arts. I don't believe that because people thought that computers were going to be the end of the arts.
Like, it's just a tool that we have to treat responsibly.
Yeah, but we've got to be careful about it because it can go too far. And I think we could very easily fall into the trap where we let it.
Heavy. All right. Anyway, I'm gonna pivot. We could probably go on a couple more tangents, but I do have a person that I'm very excited to talk about today.
I'm so excited.
I guess it worked out because unfortunately I didn't have a lot of resources that I was able to find on her. I was very disappointed though, because at the end I discovered that the New York City Performing Arts Library has so much on her, like her unfinished memoir and interviews and videos and everything. But I checked online, there's no way for me to access it online. I would have to put in a request, and I was just like, all right, I don't think I can do that.
Fly to New York.
You know what? If we had the budget, I would have done it. Absolutely. Right? It would have. And that's on my future now to do. Get to New York City, go check out that library, read a little bit of Lesley Gore's unfinished memoir. And also I picked her, of course, in honor of Pride Month. We always love trying to match it, celebrate the month.
Yes.
And this is someone that you definitely know her music. And to shout back to our March episodes where we talked about women's rage and the songs that tell the stories of women's rage. I talked about this song. It's the You Don't Own Me by Lesley Gore. And she wasn't the songwriter about it. So when I was telling the story of the song, I wasn't necessarily just talking about her. I was talking about also the men who wrote about it. But I'll go more into detail about the song. So if you want to, you can go check out that. But also, if any Taylor Swift fans are listening, it is the last song that plays before Taylor Swift takes the stage at the Eras Tour, which is You Don't Own Me, which in the wake of her Masters battle, I think it is perfect, especially with how big the Eras Tour ended up getting. And I think that Lesley Gore would be very happy that she is using that as a way to, I don't know, spread her message. I think she would very much be a fan of the way she has gotten back her masters. Not to
Love
speak
that.
on another person's behalf, but you'll get the vibe. Anyways, so her name's Lesley Gore. And she honestly was like a pop star in the 60s before eventually like rock and roll and folk became what people were interested in. Before I dive into her, though, we haven't done this, I don't think, in a while, but a little state of the arts as far as like where this came from. So it was pretty much between the early rock and roll and then British invasion, Beatles, all of that was this phenomenon, which was the girl groups, which we've talked a little bit about them with the episode that we did about background singers, because a lot of those background singers were featured in those groups. But it's like the Bobettes, the Ronettes, the Chantels, and it's just
Supremes.
Like the Supremes, those like just really thick vocal harmonies, singing just the catchy pop tunes. They're such a classic of the 60s. They just have that quintessential sound there.
I think there's a revival of that. That could be fun.
Honestly, yes. I feel like it could be very wholesome. What's cool too is a lot of these girl group songs had songs that were co-written by female songwriters, including Carole King. Of course, Carole King had her own career beyond just these songs. Like the song Will You Still Love Me Tomorrow? There's a famous girl group that did that. I can't remember the one off the top of my head, but I can hear it in my head with the harmonies and it rich and everything. Ellie Greenwich, Cynthia Weil, and Florence Greenberg, who also launched her own record label and whose life served for the basis of the 2011 Broadway musical Baby It's You, which, again, I love learning about women because the more women I learn about, the more women I find to do future episodes on.
Yes. So. And then they all tie together.
It's
so nice.
Love it. But really up to that point, it was male voices and male songwriters that really dominated the popular music scene. Things started changing and rock and roll had a new female sound that was just really popular for a couple years there. What's interesting, though, is that these girl groups rarely performed material that they had written themselves, and they never really necessarily played the instruments featured on the recordings. That was still reserved for the male studio musicians. Okay. But it's a lot of like Chapel of Love, Angels, My Boyfriend's Bag. It focused on the boys and their lives, finding the perfect guy, all of that. So sure, it was still very male-centered, but it was in a different thing that it was female voices that were singing this. And Lesley Gore, she did the, like I said, You Don't Own Me, but she also has the very popular 60s classic, It's My Party. It's my party and I'll cry if I want to. Yes. So good. Like, I know. I honestly, all of her songs are just still so good and so catchy. And even though she's obviously not in a girl group, her sound definitely mirrors a lot of what the girl groups were doing. And she became popular in that same time that they were. That was a sound, like a woman's voice singing. What I love about her songs is she's very defiant almost against men, where it's my party, I'll cry if I want to. There's another song called Judy's Turn to Cry that's very funny of her pretty much being like, it's Judy's turn to cry. Like, she stole my man. I'm going to get him back. And it's her turn to cry. Like, it's pretty iconic.
That's funny.
My mom sent it to me a couple months ago very randomly. It was like, have you heard this? And I had not. And I listened and I was like, who is this person? And then she's been on my list then ever since that moment.
I love that so much.
Go listen to Lesley Gore. But for a very brief overview, she was born Leslie Sue Goldstein, better known, of course, by her maternal surname that was adopted by her father after birth. She's an American singer-songwriter. And at the age of 16, actually, she recorded her first hit song, It's My Party, that became a U.S. #1 in 1963.
That was her first hit song? Wow, and it's still a hit.
It's still a hit. And she was only 16 years old, which is crazy. She followed it up with 10 further U.S. top 40 hits, including Judy's Turn to Cry, You Don't Own Me. And she actually said that she considered You Don't Own Me to be her signature song, which I think that has become such an iconic song. And it's been reused a lot. And I'll talk about that a little bit more.
Yeah. Not to go on like a tiny tangent. Do you feel like Taylor Swift researches women's artists as much as we do? The fact that she uses Lesley Gore's You Don't Own Me right before she goes on stage and like sings about Clara Bow, and sometimes
I do feel like she must be very well read. Like, I didn't know who Clara Bow was, and I would say learning about women musician is like a main pillar of my life. So
yeah,
I know.
Anyway, continue on.
Maybe we can just call Taylor up and see what she's.
Be like, who else should we add to our list?
I take great satisfaction in knowing that Taylor Swift would be a fan of our podcast if
Oh,
she
100%.
ever decided to listen to that. So
Louis Fuller, Clairvaux, Rebecca Harkness touched
Yeah.
on it all.
there's always going to be at least one Taylor tangent. At this point,
I
it's
know.
like Chapel and Taylor. Like, we will be mentioning both in every episode from now on.
Yep.
Sorry about it.
Welcome to More Than a Muse.
Welcome to More Than a Muse. All right. Anyways, so like I mentioned, she was born Lesley Sue Goldstein in Brooklyn, New York City, into a middle-class Jewish family. She was the daughter of Leo Goldstein and Ronnie Gore, but her family actually changed their surname to Gore, her mom's surname, soon after she was born. Her father is actually the owner of Peter Pan, which was a children's swimwear and underwear manufacturer, and later became a leading brand licensing agent in the apparel industry. So, yeah, very
Doesn't
niche.
that still
very cool.
exist?
Maybe.
Yeah.
But she was raised in Tenafly, New Jersey. She attended the Dwight School for Girls in nearby Inglewood. She also attended Sarah Lawrence College, graduating with a degree in American literature. I'll talk about that a little bit more later. And I also feel like Sarah Lawrence College is something that we've mentioned many a times with the artists that we've covered. So,
yes,
again, just to see the ways that all of these artists overlap. But she was actually discovered because her uncle gave Joe Glaser a tape of her singing that I think it was actually her music teacher recorded her singing, which I'm just going to say that recording was not an easy thing to do.
Yeah.
Back in the 1960s. So I think that is in very good faith that music teacher was like, this is worth my time, everyone's time for the expense to get a good tape of you performing.
No, when you originally said that, I was like, oh, cool. Press record on the iPhone, email it over.
No. It was definitely a venture to do that.
Yeah.
But I think it was a music teacher that arranged to have this recording, and the uncle passed it on to Irving Green, who was the president of Mercury Records. And he actually then gave the tape to Quincy Jones for evaluations. Quincy Jones, I think, is one of the most Grammy award-winning musicians of all time. So just for context, if you don't know who that is, that's a very big deal musician. And Quincy Jones recognized her talent and became her producer. She was only 16 years old when she recorded her own version of It's My Party. Something about the 60s a lot is that there would just be songs that a lot of people would record different versions of. It wasn't, I can't imagine that happening now, of having two songs, two artists singing the same song and then both being on the charts at the same time. But honestly, that just happened a lot more frequently back in the 60s, where it'd be like, oh, who's going to sing my favorite song the best way? That was a lot more common. Less common for them to write their own songs. But she was only a junior in high school when this happened, and it became a #1 nationwide hit. Her version was certified as a gold record, and it also marked the beginning of a time where fans would show up on her front lawn. She was a full-blown pop star as a junior in high school. And then It's My Party was followed by more of her hits, which was Judy's Turn to Cry. It hit #5. There was also another one called She's a Fool. And then the feminist-themed million-selling You Don't Own Me, which held at #2 for 3 weeks behind the Beatles' I Want to Hold Your Hand.
Awesome.
Which I think is cool. It got blocked from #1, but I think
it was
for
the
3
Beatles,
weeks.
I Want to Hold Your Hand.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah.
More of the song titles, I think you can see the reoccurring theme in her music of That's the Way Boys Are, Maybe I Know, Look of Love, Sunshine, Lollipops and Rainbows, which she sang during a bus scene from the 1965 movie Ski Party.
I know Lollipops and
Rainbows. Yep, exactly. She also just appeared in a couple movies and TV shows at that time. About the song You Don't Own Me, quote, when I heard it for the first time, I thought it had an important humanist quality. As I got older, feminism became more a part of my life and more of a part of our whole awareness, and I could see why people could use it as a feminist anthem. I don't care what age you are, whether you're 16 or 116. There's nothing more wonderful than standing on the stage and shaking your finger and singing, Don't Tell Me What to Do.
I love that.
And the lyrics are so simple. Don't tell me what to do and don't tell me what to say, because you don't own me. It's just great. I love that song. And that was from an interview that she did in 2010. So a lot later on in her life. And again, I go into a little bit more about the creation of that song in March's episode. Gore was also one of the featured performers in the TAMI show concert film, which was recorded and released in 1964 by American International Pictures. It was placed in the National Film Registry in 2006. She actually had one of the longest sets in the film, performing 6 songs, including It's My Party, You Don't Own Me, and Judy's Turn to Cry. I think it just shows that a very important like concert film, and she has the longest set of all of the performers. Other cool things that she did is that she performed on 2 consecutive episodes of the Batman television series in 1967, in which she guest starred as Pussycat, one of Catwoman's minions. And
Cool.
hold on, I actually meant to Google this, but I'm wondering if that was when Eartha Kitt was Catwoman. So was she? Yeah, hold on. Oh, dang, it looks like it was someone named Julie Newmar.
Oh, okay.
So that wasn't with Eartha Kitt. Eartha Kitt was in the 3rd season.
Oh, okay.
Dang. Regardless, though.
Yeah,
she
that
was
would have
in
been
there.
fun.
And here we are. There's another artist that we can add to the list of someone that we could learn about.
Yeah, goodness gracious.
She kept recording music, though. California Nights, she recorded for her 1967 album of the same name, returned her to the top 20 of the Hot 100. The single peaked at number 16, had 14 weeks on the charts. There was also songs called My Town, My Guy and Me. And then in late 1965, then came Sunshine, Lollipops, and Rainbows. She was just killing it. Songs were just doing really well. But after high school, while continuing to make appearances as a singer, she attended Sarah Lawrence College studying English and American literature. What I thought was so sad is that like in college, like at that time, I think that's when folk music started becoming cool, and it was lauded as like chic, where pop music was just uncool. And she was a famous pop singer. And so there's a quote where it said, "Had I been tall with blonde hair, had I been Mary Travers from Peter, Paul and Mary, I would have gotten along fine." But I wonder if maybe people thought it was uncool that she was a pop singer.
So sad.
I know. Despite the fact that she was still in the midst of her recording career, it was honestly just I don't know. She made a choice to go to school. Quote, "It would have been very foolish for me to leave school to go into such an unpredictable field on a full-time basis." And so that's why she went and decided to still get her degree.
Yeah.
At one point, she was dropped from her record label because I think just what people were interested in, the music scene, the music world was just changing, and that girl group sound was just less cool. It was more rock and roll. And I think her voice is just so very fitted for that genre that I think she just had a really tough time breaking. She signed a new record label deal with Crew Records, was reunited with a previous record producer, and then just landed on like the adult contemporary charts, but none of her other singles necessarily left to be successful. She went on to just join a different record label. So I think like she had those amazing initial hits, but I think her music career afterwards just struggled to maintain the same footing. Just like I said, the music trends were changing, and I think she was just so well suited for something that unfortunately just wasn't on trend anymore, which is just sucks. But something that is cool, though, is that she did start writing a lot more. She did not write her early hits, but after she was dropped from that original record label, she worked on becoming a songwriter. She moved to California in 1970, and her 1972 album that was called Someplace Else Now was full of songs that she wrote with herself or with the lyricist Ellen Weston. So I just thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
Oh, another way that the song You Don't Own Me has been used is that in 2012, You Don't Own Me returned during the presidential election as like a feminist get out to vote video. And it begins with her appearing and announcing, "I'm Lesley Gore, and I approve this message."
I love that.
I know. I forgot to mention that before.
Yeah.
In 1972, she signed with Mo West Records, which was like a Motown record label. And then she released that album, Someplace Else Now, where she had written. But the album just didn't really do well. It wasn't really particularly promoted well. Oh, wait. Oops, my bad. The album only had one single, and it did not perform very well, partially because of just poor promotion. And so I think the album was just fully shelved. So she wasn't able to release that album.
That sucks.
I know, but she kept working as a musician, and she actually composed songs for the soundtrack for the 1980 film Fame, and she actually received an Academy Award nomination for Out Here on My Own that she actually wrote with her brother Michael.
That's awesome.
I know, I think it's really cool. Her brother actually won the Academy Award that night for Best Original Song for a different song that he wrote by himself in the movie. Unfortunately, she's not Academy Award winning, but she is nominated, which is really cool. And then her brother just won for a different song that she didn't participate in. But she still continued just performing in concerts, appeared on television shows throughout the 1980s and the 1990s. She co-wrote a song called My Secret of Love for the 1996 film Grace of My Heart, which this film has a subplot about a young singer named Kelly Porter who is based in part on her and is played by Bridget Fonda. And the character is a closeted lesbian who performs My Secret Love in the film, which is definitely something that she can relate to. And I will talk about that more later. But in 2005, she recorded another album, which was the first album since the 70s with the record producer Blythe Morgan. And it like got good reviews with New York Times, Rolling Stone, billboards, and everything. And in that album, it included a revised version of You Don't Own Me, of course. There was a review that said, in Lesley Gore's new version of You Don't Own Me, cut more than 40 years after its initial recording, she lends a pop classic new life. And then she commented, without the loud backing track, I could wring more meaning from the lyric. And quote, it's a song that takes on new meaning every single time you sing it. Which,
That's
again,
cool.
just a good, powerful anthem. A note about her personal life. Beginning actually in 2003, she hosted several editions of, there was a PBS television series called In the Life, and it focused on like different LGBTQ issues. I think it would like go and see people living their lives and interview them and show how they live their life. And she hosted it in 2003. In a 2005 interview with After Ellen, she stated that she was a lesbian and had been in a relationship with luxury jewelry designer Louis Sasson since 1982.
Luxury jewelry designer.
I know. And she said that she had known about her attraction to women from the time that she was 20 and just said that she knew that the music business was totally homophobic, but that she never felt that she had to pretend she was straight. Quote, I just lived my life naturally and did what I wanted to do. And she said, I didn't avoid anything, but I tried not to put it in anybody's face. I think she just did the best she could, just like living her life. And I think it's cool that finally in 2005, 2 years after she hosted this TV show, she was like able to come out publicly and talk about the fact that she had been with this person for 20 years at that point.
Gosh, I wonder how many times that happened, you know, at that time period where they were finally able to be like, yes, like
everyone in my personal life knows.
Yeah.
But like now I can like finally say it. It's like the joke of, and they were roommates and they loved each other. They were really good friends. And if maybe
they lived together until the day they died.
Best of friends. Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's unfortunate because she'd actually been working on a memoir and a Broadway show that was based on her life when she unfortunately died of lung cancer in 2015 at the age of only 68. But at the time of her death, Gore and Sasson had been together for 33 years, which is just a really long time to be with someone, which is incredible. Her NY Times obituary stated, with songs like It's My Party, Judy's Turn to Cry, and the incredibly defiant 1964 single You Don't Own Me, all recorded before she was 18, Gore made herself the voice of teenage girls aggrieved by fickle boyfriends, moving quickly from tearful self-pity to fierce self-assertion. Which,
I love that.
Womanhood.
Yes.
Or
it's
girlhood,
my party and I'll cry if I want to, but you don't own me
and you don't get to tell me what to do. Exactly. In 1964, It's My Party was actually nominated for a Grammy Award for rock and roll recording. So she has a Grammy nomination and an Academy Award nomination. Oh, this is a cool thing too, where like National Public Radio named Lesley Gore Sings of Mixed Up Hearts, her second album, as a forebearer as one of the top 150 albums recorded by women. The album missed the official list mainly because the official list was 1964 to present, but it was released in 1963. So just like a weird technicality.
Oh, yeah.
But I love this quote that said, she is a forebearer for her assertion of feminine power and pop and her validation of female perspective. Which, again, it's my party, and I'll cry if I want to. But then also, You Don't Own Me can and should be said all by the same person, maybe even in the same night, and both very valid.
The dichotomy of womanhood. I love it.
Yeah. So, anyways, there is Lesley Gore, and like I think it's just really cool that like she was just so fully aware of the power that this song that she had held, and she has just like over and over again been so on board with like people using it for the feminist anthem that it's become and continues to be. And it's such a song that people use as even today with Taylor Swift. People are still continuing to use it to make statements. And yeah, I just think it's really incredible.
I love that Lesley so much. Wow. What a legacy, even with just a couple of songs.
That's what's so crazy, is that all songs that she recorded by the time she was 18 years old, but even still, she still did so much like advocacy work and just still performed and did incredible work even afterwards. But anyways,
That's so fun.
Yes.
Oh man, her Batman character got to wear pink.
Oh,
I love that.
That is amazing, actually.
If I was ever a supervillain in a movie, I'd want to wear pink.
Absolutely. Watch Robin get seduced by Lesley Gore on Batman.
Ooh,
Perfect. She
seducing
definitely
Rob.
has the very typical 60s beauty queen.
Yeah, she looks 60s.
Mm-hmm.
Like you could put a picture of her and someone would be like, what era is this? And everyone would go, oh, the 60s.
That girl is a 60s queen.
So fun. Thank you. I'm so excited. I'm going to have to go listen to all of her music
You
now.
need to go listen to Judy's Turn to Cry. It's actually iconic.
Did we have those 3 on our Feminine Rage playlist?
We had You Don't Own Me, but we didn't have It's My Party, but we should.
We should,
We absolutely
right?
should.
That's what I was just thinking. It was like to be on there.
It is a form of feminine rage.
It is. I'll cry if I want to.
Because I deserved it.
That'll be added. And thank you. And happy Pride Month, everyone.
Happy Pride Month. But I realized so much of who we covered this month was just like women in pop music. I just covered someone from the 1960s and then last week's episode. And then, of course, your artist from the month.
I know. Mine was from the 1600s. So
yes.
if you really want to go back.
Not a pop star, but an opera singer who also was a dueler.
Yes.
Dueler? I don't know.
She fought.
Anyways, happy Pride Month. Absolutely.
Happy Pride Month. And we are on to July. Oh, our merch is launching.
Our merch is launching. You probably won't get it back for the 4th of July in time. But the good news is you can wear it all the time. You don't have to just wear it on the 4th of July.
It should be launching this week still. Mm-hmm. We're waiting on the samples. Otherwise, we would be...
I know. I'm like checking the tracking of when
I know. I think it'll be here in 2 days, right?
I think so.
Yeah. So it should launch this week. As long as the samples are good and everything's okay, we'll launch it this week so that you can try and get it by the 4th.
If not, you can wear it all the time.
Yeah. And I mean, if you're in Utah, you've got the 24th, the whole month of July is very patriotic. And if you're feeling like us, you can wear a Votes for Women hat and Justice, Liberty, and Freedom are all women shirt. So
I agree.
It's going to be fun.
It'll be great.
Yes. Also, the shirts are going to cost more than the last ones did, but only because it's the oversized vintage faded.
Yes.
So it is a higher quality shirt. I'm excited.
I can't
wait to wear mine. And I think the oversized is going to be really fun for this one. So
I agree. Join us next week. I'm very excited for the topic we're covering next week.
Me too.
And thank you for being
See
here.
You next time. Subscribe, follow. I almost said report. Don't do that.
Please don't.
I meant review. And subscribe, like all the things. And we'll see you next time.
We'll be back.
Bye.